let's say we're going to roll some dice. I'm going to import random, and then I'm going to make a list. And this list is going to have all our dice rolls. So it might be 5, 6, 3, 1, 2, 1, 5, etc. And we're going to roll, let's start with 100. Random.randint 1 to 6, and then print dice list. That's got to be out of here. And if I run that, we get 100 of these guys. It's pretty quick. Let's say I want to find the average. In order to find the average, we need to get the sum or the total and then divide it by the amount. So for the sum, I don't want to write add the first plus add the second plus add the third, because that would involve a lot of typing on my part, and I would need to change it if we ever change how many rolls or how it works. So instead, we want to make our code a little more robust that it can handle if things change later. So let's have total start at 0, and then it's going to go for die in dice list, meaning however many there are in here, and later we might make this 1,000 or 1,000,000, it's going to go through each one in that list, and we don't have to change this line no matter what. We're going to say total plus equals die. And then we can print total equals total, and it'll show us, hey, that time total was 329, and that time it was 336, and that time it was 359. And these are going to be different slightly depending on the dice rolls in the list. So now we're going to find the average to divide them. So I'm going to say average equals total divided by, and now we need to know how many there were. I don't want to put a number because, again, that would be fragile. It would have to change if we change the amount. So I'm going to say len of dice list. So no matter what this is, if it's 100, if it's 5, it doesn't matter. This is going to be ready to handle that. And then we can print average equals, and then it's going to do the little annoying autocomplete on the quotes. So this time it was 344. This time it was 345. That was 352. That was 37472. So they're not perfect yet. They're pretty far apart. 3.4 and 3.7 are pretty different. If we were trying to do this statistically and get a real solid average, we'd want to be more nailed down than that. So let's say we want to do this whole thing a bunch of times and find the average of the averages. So that was 3.72, that was 3.43, that was 3.64, that was 3.56, that was 3.35. They're really in a pretty big range here, like over 10% wavering. So let's say we want to do this whole thing a bunch of times and find the average of these averages. How would you do that? We don't want to write the same code again. I'm not going to copy, paste. Okay, we're not going to do that and make our thing a million lines. We're not going to, and here's a hint here, we're not going to do a bunch of horrible indenting to have this, and then something here, and then something here, and then something here, and then something here. You could get the job done that way, but it's really hard to read and hard to follow. So let's try to, and this is going to be a quick thing once you get it, but you have to think for a minute. Let's try to run this whole thing, let's say 100 times, and find the average of all the 100 averages of all the 100 dice rolls. Without copying the code, without a ton of indenting, maybe making another list of lists, maybe using a dictionary, maybe using functions, whatever you need to do to make it nice, short, readable, and efficient, and hopefully not take 10 minutes to load. Give that a shot. There's not one way. There are a lot of ways, but we want to find the ones that are good and avoid the ones that are really long, really inefficient, really hard to read, really hard to write, really hard to change, etc. And next time I'll show a few things that people did and talk about, oh, well, this one's good if you're doing X, Y, and Z, and this one's good if you're doing X, Y, and Z, and this one takes more time, but this one takes more memory, etc. Thanks.